Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody in the fucking audience today, it's Matt McMeme coming at you without a beard, cause I'm back home now and I've got to get a job, so I gotta take the beard away, even though I think it makes me look like shit. That's just kind of how capitalism works, I guess. And welcome to the first ever episode of the Matt McMeme Wrestling Review. This is gonna be my thing that I don't know. I kind of just want to do it, so maybe I'll continue doing it. Where I document my return to wrestling, because I was big into wrestling in like middle school. 2010, 2011, 2012, those years thereabout. I was super into it. I thought it was real. I knew it was real. It had to be real. That kind of stuff because I was sheltered and dumb. And I had never really watched wrestling before then. Um, but yeah, I was super into it and then I fell off I don't think it was even any particular reason. I just kind of stopped watching it. Um, but now I want to get back into it. I guess specifically into WWE because that's just, the easiest to access. So, even though I've seen lots of varying opinions on the quality of WWE in recent years because a lot of people said, hey, they're doing better. They're getting, doing good stuff. And I've seen lots of other people say, nope, they're still bad. Still bad, not good. So, I guess the secret is to watch for myself. But anyway, I watched the Money in the Bank pay-per-view last night because I got my free month of WWE Network, so I can basically just do that if I want. Um, I'm planning on watching, Raw and SmackDown and NXT, maybe fucking 205 Live. I don't actually know when that's on though. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how I enjoy it. But this is for my review of Money in the Bank 2018. Just to say, hey, here's how I thought it was on the whole. I'll be giving the matches a score out of 5 stars, as is customary in wrestling. Although I will be using half stars because fucking 5 points is not enough. You gotta have. There needs to be a space in between liking something and disliking something. Like 3 and 2 stars, like there is no middle ground there. It's just kind of weird to me. But whatever. So the first match of the night. Oh, well, there was like the pre-card thing, which was a fucking tag championship match, which I didn't see, but whatever. The first match on the main card was Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. And oh, I should also mention that while I haven't been watching wrestling, I have been at least tangentially aware of a lot of the stuff going on in wrestling right now just by being in WWE Memeologic posting, which is a very good group on the Facebook, and by just following people that are generally abreast of wrestling stuff, and they'll talk about it sometimes. So I kind of know what's going on, but not really. But yeah, Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan. This has been going on since WrestleMania, I think, when Daniel Bryan actually came back from being injured. Um, which, good for him, because I know that the struggle has just been WWE being like, no, Daniel, you're not good, you're not healthy enough to wrestle. And like literally every other wrestling organization is like, nah, he can probably do it though. Because WWE has really high standards for who is medically cleared to compete just because they don't want shit shows of lawsuits and, people's arms breaking in half on live TV for the little kiddies. That would probably not be good. Yeah, him and Big Cass, who is now a singles guy. He used to be teamed with Enzo Amore, the real one. I've not listened to his hip hop track actually, and I kind of want to. But anyway, they have been feuding for a few months since WrestleMania, and they had another match here, which was pretty okay. I don't particularly remember many of the spots here. I'm going to be using a lot of wrestling lingo, so if you're a noob, look them up on WrestlePedia. I assume that's the thing. There weren't too many crazy spots. I don't remember. Honestly, did kind of seem like both guys were, well, Daniel Bryan especially was, just kind of doing whatever. But it was fine. It was okay. I'll give that one 2.5 stars. And you gotta remember, this is from last night, so some of this might be vaguely remembered. Next was Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. Now, Bobby Lashley coming back, like, that's quite the fucking pull, WWE. Because Bobby Lashley was a wrestler in the mid-2000s who didn't really end up doing all that much. He won the ECW championship a few times back when that was, still a thing under WWE. And I think he won the United States championship once, but, other than that, not super great. His finisher isn't that good. He's generally not very charismatic or good on the mic, and he's just kind of got a generic big guy, big muscle man moveset, in his arsenal. And Sami Zayn, on the other hand, again, this is from hearsay and from the little bit that I've seen of Sami Zayn. I know about Bobby Lashley, but Sami Zayn is like one of the cooler fucking up and coming dudes. I know him and Kevin Owens, their tag team. Kevin Owens, I know, is fucking a fantastic, absolute boy. Sami Zayn as well, though. He's a really good wrestler. He's a really funny dude. He's good at talking on the mic. It's a good time. So apparently, him and Bobby Lashley have been feuding for a while. Like, Sami Zayn's like, I bet you weren't even in the military, Bobby Lashley. The funniest part of the entire match, like the best part of the entire match, to be honest, is at the beginning when they show a tweet from Sami Zayn that's like, Happy Father's Day, everybody. I dedicate this match to Mr. Jackson, or to Mr. Lashley, Bobby Lashley's dad, because I'm going to have to kick his son's ass, and I know he's sad by the fact that he is fucking a piece of shit or whatever. Something like that, which is really funny. And then Corey Graves, who is one of the commentators, kept bringing it up at the end after Bobby Lashley won. He's like, what would Mr. Lashley think about this? I know he was cheering for Sammy to win, which was very funny. But the match itself was a fucking squash match. It was just, I missed a little bit of it, just because of my shitty internet, folks. I missed a little bit of it, but I did see the majority of the fucking 6-minute match. But yeah, Sami Zayn got his dick knocked off. I think they barely gave him any offense. It was basically just Bobby Lashley kicking his ass for 6 minutes. And I think it's kind of sad that a guy as, over with the fans as Sami Zayn is getting, is fucking jobbing to Bobby Lashley several months after his debut, or his re-debut, I guess. That's not that great. That kind of feels bad, honestly. Then there was the fucking, God. Ugh. I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. Give me a second here. I don't actually remember which of these came next, but I guess it doesn't matter too much.
Can you tell me all the details? For example,
Alexa,
you could say me.
I wasn't talking to you. Please stop. Thank you. Uh, so I'll just say that next was the SmackDown. No, that wasn't. It was the women's Money in the Bank. Um, which I'll admit. Oh wait, no, and that Bobby Lashley Sami Zayn match gets 1 star because it was a shitty squash match with a guy that I do not like. Um, anyway, yeah, fucking women's Money in the Bank. I did not watch very much of at all. I caught basically just the end of it because I am not well versed enough in the women's division in WWE to be invested in who wins the Money in the Bank. I will say though, from the stuff I saw at the very end of it, it looked like it was probably pretty good. But I did not watch it because I'm just not in there with the women's wrestling to have picked favorites outside of a few that were not in the match. Oh wait, no, Charlotte Flair was in the match, um, but she didn't win, obviously. Then there was, I believe, the Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns match, which I also skipped. um, because Roman Reigns, he's a big meme of how boring he is, and that's fine. Jinder Mahal, I've seen a lot of people say he's really boring, and that very well could be true. I have not sat through any of his matches, but he definitely has the look of a great heel. He just looks like a fucking asshole. He fucking grimaces real well. He looks evil and spooky. But yeah, I did not watch that match because I could not care less. Then I think it was the SmackDowns. Oh wait, no, I missed fucking Elias and fucking Seth Rollins. That was earlier in the show. So yeah, Seth Rollins versus Elias for the Intercontinental Championship. Um, Seth Rollins, I don't really know that much about. Same with Elias, other than that he says "walk with Elias" and that he plays the guitar. That's about all I know about him. But he did actually have a little promo before their match, and I liked it. He had he seemed pretty over with the crowd. Um, I do have to say though, because he's supposed to be a heel, um, that he was doing this cool promo. He was talking all cool, and the crowd was digging it. And then he started going Chicago, because that was where the show was at. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you, Chicago. Which I mean, playing mean for the fucking just insulting the hometown of whatever show you're in right now. That's such a low bar for making a heel. Like anyone can do that. You just be like, insert town name here. Ooh, just a bunch of idiots come from here. You know what I'm saying, guys? Especially considering he did so much, a really cool bit before that. I don't know why they felt that he needed to kind of sink to that lower level, but whatever. But yeah, the match itself was pretty cool, honestly. Again, I missed a little bit of it, but there were some there were some good spots. They both wrestled very well. The spot near the end with fucking Elias going crazy and slamming Seth Rollins into 50 things and then elbow dropping him. I thought for sure that was gonna be the end of it. Because I kind of I'm always down to put newer talent who haven't necessarily gotten a shot over on bigger guys who will be relevant anyway, like Seth Rollins. So I was kind of hoping that Elias would win, just because I know he hasn't actually done all that much in terms of championships in WWE. But it was still a good finish. I with the way they portrayed Seth Rollins being dying throughout the whole match because of his knee. I think the schoolboy or not whatever, the roll up finish or whatever that they ended up doing, it was appropriate. Um, It was a good match. I enjoyed it. I'd give that one good old 3.5 stars. It was a fun match. Um, so then it's probably the SmackDown Women's Championship between Carmella and Asuka. Now Asuka is, again, without having watched wrestling in a while, probably my favorite female wrestler that I've ever seen. Um, if only because of her fucking visual gimmick or whatever. Her entrance is fucking phenomenal. She comes out with this crazy weird like kimono thing. She's got the mask on, which is super awesome. She's got fucking this crazy multicolored hair, and she's wearing these like Mad Max fucking tights. It's crazy. Um, and she wrestles really good too. Although you wouldn't necessarily be able to get that from her match with Carmella, who I don't know anything about. She's clearly a heel. And honestly, from like the bits of the match that you could kind of like get her personality out of, I did actually kind of enjoy that. Because she's like a fucking, uh, she's like kind of a messy bitch, quote unquote, who is just like super entitled and stuff, which works really well. I think that character is fine, but that match, ooh, fucking boy howdy, that was a snoozer. It was basically um, Carmella just like smacking Asuka and being like, ooh, ooh, and then a little bit of offense would get going, and then the ref would break it up, and then she'd fucking punch her again. It was just a snail's pace throughout the whole match. And then the instant near the end, the thing started to pick up, and I'm like, oh, okay, something happening now. There's a distraction ringside, which was actually initially really fucking cool. Because like Asuka's kimono and mask were just like standing at ringside. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then it just turned out to be some fucking goober that I didn't know under the mask. And then Carmella fucking pinned Asuka and she keeps the championship. Like, that was so boring, honestly. The match itself was just nothing. It was just a bunch of walking around. Like, that honestly gives me the impression that Carmella can't fucking wrestle, and that WWE's like, okay, we need to figure out ways to work around this. I mean, we're gonna have to make you a heel, obviously, and you're basically just gonna run around and distract people. You're just gonna have to be a real piece of shit wrestler, have really boring matches. Yeah, that was a very bad match. It wasted my time, and Asuka didn't get the belt, so it's also gonna be a 1 star for me, actually. I hate to say it. The Then there was the WWE Championship match, which my two boys, the two goons of my heart, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. Who, AJ Styles, I've been, aware of him back when he was in TNA, and I watched TNA. Shinsuke Nakamura, of course, is a legend from New Japan. I assume he's been, the promotions. Yeah, they've both been in WWE for a while, and I never really got to watch them. But now I did, and boy howdy, it was worth the wait, let me tell you. So, this is probably the one rivalry that I've actually had pretty good knowledge of, was Nakamura and AJ Styles'. Because at WrestleMania, Nakamura won the Royal Rumble. And so he was, challenging AJ Styles as WWE Champion. And the idea was that, it's these two super great wrestlers that everyone loves, and they're doing this, mutual respect, awesome wrestling match. And then at the end of it, AJ Styles wins. And then Shinsuke Nakamura punches him in the dick afterwards. Which was very funny. And then essentially their rivalry for the past while has just been Shinsuke Nakamura fucking with him and punching him in the dick, which is a great gimmick. I gotta say, also gave us the "me no speak English" thing from Shinsuke, which was very funny. Um, they had a match at Backlash, I believe. They mentioned in the pay per view itself, where they were both like knocked unconscious because they hit each other in the dick at the same time. So it ended in a draw. That's also very great, and I enjoyed that a lot. Um, so this match was last man standing, which no countouts, no disqualifications, no pinfalls, no submissions. Um, the only way to lose is to be off of your feet, on the ground for 10 seconds. Or, the ref's count of 10, which is usually a bit longer than 10 seconds. But in this match, like I said, it was it was great. It was long as hell. It was like a half-hour match, which is really good because they go out of their way to be like, damn, this match was fucking brutal. It was crazy. There were some wild spots in this one. Shinsuke Nakamura, because they had three announce tables by the ring. It was like the English one, the Spanish one, and I think a fucking German one or something. So Nakamura sets AJ Styles up on like the far table, and then he gets on the one opposite him, and he runs across both tables and gives him a Kinshasa to the fucking face. It was awesome. There was another one where AJ Styles does the Styles Clash off of the fucking steel step and onto the mat on the floor, which was also crazy. Just a lot of good stuff here. Both guys were really going at it. Shinsuke's selling was out of this world. This man is the greatest actor of all time, I gotta say. Just a great match. A lot of fun. I do wish Shinsuke would have won, just because I don't think he's, won the title yet. But I think they're making something of a deal out of AJ Styles' title reign. I think they said he's been holding it for 200 and something days. So usually at that point, they're kind of like, okay, well, we kind of want to make this a big deal. Even though this match felt like a fucking big deal. And there were definitely lots of spots where either guys could have won. Although I gotta say, the ending one of AJ Styles doing the phenomenal forearm, um, from inside to outside the ring through the announcer's table was pretty fucking cool. But yeah, it was a great match. 4.5 stars. I don't feel comfortable enough giving it a 5 stars because there were obviously some slower sections, or some spots that didn't quite hit as hard. The escalation wasn't always there. There were, parts of the match were crazier, and then it would kind of slow down for a little bit. Which it is good rising tension or whatever, but even so, but a really 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 good ass match, in my opinion. Then there was the Raw Women's Championship match, um, which was Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Um, Now, Nia Jax is a little infamous in the wrestling stuff that I follow as, basically a walking botchamania machine where, she is fucking. She's touted as like this big, unstoppable monster in the women's division because, most of the women weigh like sub 150 and she is almost 300 pounds. So she's like twice the weight of nearly, might be literally every other female wrestler that WWE's got. So, it's pretty easy to market her as this crazy, impossible to beat thing. But from some of the stuff I've seen, she is really not an incredible wrestler. She's pretty strong, I guess, but she does not have very much finesse. And I've seen a lot of, like, holy shit, that looked really dangerous looking spots from her, almost breaking people's necks and shit. Also, I mean, because you can have, big, fucking, meaty, chunky female wrestlers. That's not a problem. A lot of people are like, oh, people only hate Nia Jax because she looks like she's fat. And it's like, I don't even think that that's true. Because, like, you have fucking Karma, who was a thing back in my day. Um, she was this big ass, fucking scary ass, strong ass woman. She was probably bigger than Nia Jax, I think. Um, she was cool. She was a good wrestler. She was scary. Nia Jax just looks like, I don't know, a fat woman who does her makeup up pretty well. Like she looks like a pear, honestly. That's another thing, is that she doesn't look like she has the physique of someone who's like strong and fat. It's just kind of weird. Um, and yeah, Ronda Rousey, her thing since WrestleMania. Apparently, this is her first singles match. Like, I know the mixed tag thing she did at WrestleMania. Um, and I don't know what else she's been in. Maybe nothing since WrestleMania, which would be fucking dumb because I really don't want more part timers doing things. Brock Lesnar nowhere to be seen. I had Money in the Bank, by the way, as you might expect. But yeah, the fucking Ronda Rousey did her thing. Or she didn't actually, because this match also was kind of a piece of shit. Because Nia Jax really does not seem to facilitate good matches just based on her physique. Because, with men's wrestling, there's definitely a much larger range of weight. You got cruiserweight guys who are usually doing high flying, flippity, skippity stuff. A bit more normal weight guys up in the 200s range, and then you got the big ass boys who are 250 or so or higher. In women's wrestling, they're pretty much all like sub 150, with the exception of a few cases. In which case there's only ever like one at a time in the women's division. And currently Nia Jax is that, and the problem with that is you can't really give the other women very interesting offense against her. Ronda Rousey in that match she hit her arm a little bit. Mostly it was just Nia Jax doing these really boring like throws to her. And I get that, the big man versus the not big man match or whatever, it's pretty slow on the whole, just as a virtue. Um, but the point of those is to just make these really punishing looking fucking uh oof, ouch, ouch looking spots. And Rousey did not, sell that enough, nor did fucking Nia Jax do moves that were interesting enough to be like that. So it was just a boring match. The ending I actually did kind of like because Alexa Bliss, who won the women's Money in the Bank, cashed in that night, which is always fun. I do always enjoy a same night cash in of the Money in the Bank. Alexa, I'm not fucking talking to you.
I'd rather not answer that.
Good. Fucking robots. That's because I'm saying that wrestler's name. But yeah, she cashed in her Money in the Bank. Beat the shit out of Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey, and then pinned Nia Jax and became the women's championship. That was a good finish. I enjoyed that, but the rest of the match was not good. I guess I'd give that 2 stars, only because of the finish. Then there was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which I was looking forward to. The card for this one has been pretty exciting. because for one, it's a lot of these guys' first Money in the Bank match. I think Finn Balor's maybe, Samoa Joe's, Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman, all of their first Money in the Bank ladder matches, which is cool. And the other guys on the card, Kofi Kingston and The Miz have both been in a lot, but also, Kofi especially has been, he hasn't really had a push ever, as far as I'm aware. And so I was really glad. The New Day, they're like, oh, we have a mystery. One of us is going to be in there. And it ended up being Kofi. I was honestly really hoping Kofi would win. Like, even though I know that, they're big pushing Braun Strowman now. And yeah, he did win it. Even though, like, the way they were talking about, it's like, I don't see how Braun Strowman could possibly lose this. Really made me think he wasn't going to win. And he did win. And I was kind of sad about it, even though a lot of people like Braun Strowman. I haven't seen any reason to dislike him. Um, I know he's getting a huge push regardless. And I guess, you know, because in my mind, the Money in the Bank, when I think of like the best Money in the Bank winners, I think of Edge, fucking The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, like guys who were at the mid card and then used the Money in the Bank to climb to the top of the card. And that's what I feel like the Money in the Bank should be for. I don't think that fucking John Cena and Randy Orton should be winning the goddamn Money in the Bank. And even though I know Braun Strowman isn't, it's definitely nowhere near as bad as John Cena winning Money in the Bank. It does still kind of feel like that, sort of robbing, like pretty much every other guy on the card, other than maybe Bobby Roode, who I feel definitely could have deserved a bigger push than Braun did. Also, maybe The Miz, just because at least he's already been, in the world championship contender space before. Uh, but anyway, this was a good match. Money in the Bank is generally pretty good in my experience. Only thing that about them is that after a certain point, they kind of just become, oh, this guy's climbing up the ladder. Who's gonna roll in the ring to stop him and yank him down and do something to him? Oh, this guy. Okay, now that guy's going up the ladder to go and get it the contract. Oh, another guy comes in and he fucks him up. And that guy's going up the ladder, and on until someone does a big enough spot, and then it's just like, okay, well, yeah, there he goes, he wins. So that formula can be a bit repetitive as the match goes on, but even so, I think there was a lot of cool stuff in this match. Um, Kevin Owens like repeated attempts to get to the top of the ladder and do some crazy shit off of it, which then culminated in Braun Strowman throwing him off of like not even one of the normal ladders, which are pretty high, but you can be like, they can do a reasonably safe landing from there. It's one of the show ladders, like to the side of the entrance way, which are like 50 fucking feet high. And Kevin Owens climbs to the top of that, and Braun Strowman shoves him off and through a table. Like that, that's probably as high as the fucking Hell in a Cell, honestly. And we all know how crazy that looks. That was probably the coolest spot in there. But there was plenty of other good ones. Um, they gave Rusev a very funny thing where he does, he tries to do a triple accolade, um, which was very cool. Uh, they gave a lot of like really dominating kind of things to several of the guys, which made me hopeful. They're like, oh, maybe he's gonna do it. Um, they gave one to Kofi, which got me really excited, and then the one, like I said, to Rusev. But Braun won it, which is fine. I'm not gonna be pissed about that. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It was good. I kind of wish Kofi or Rusev had won, but that's just how it is. I feel like Kofi fucking deserves it, honestly, for all of the shit that he's done in his bajillion years with the company. Over 10 years now, I know. Um, does he not deserve a world title run? I guess not. But yeah, give that one like a 4 stars. It was a good match. So overall, my overall impressions, this was very hit or miss on the whole. Um, there was some good stuff, and there was a lot of lame stuff. Maybe if I had watched the women's Money in the Bank match, I would have liked it more on the whole, but because that seemed pretty good. But there was a lot of shitty matches and mediocre matches, kind of clogging the card. Um, but even so, I overall enjoyed my time watching it, if only just because it's I'm fucking watching wrestling again. Uh, so yeah, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought of Money in the Bank 2018. Cause yeah,